8 seconds, that's all it takes to change the direction of a life. 8 seconds to say enough. 8 seconds to interrupt patterns that have controlled you for years. 8 seconds to reclaim your fire. And right now, these 8 seconds are yours. Growth begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. Not the dramatic lies, but the quiet ones. The asterisk I'll start tomorrow. Asterisk the asterisk I don't feel ready. Asterisk the asterisk I'm too tired. Asterisk the asterisk I'll figure it out later. Asterisk these are the lies that steal your potential one day at a time. And if you're not careful, they turn into a life you never wanted, a life that reflects your excuses instead of your capabilities. Daily growth isn't about motivation. Motivation is temporary. It's about leverage, emotional leverage, using your own truth as fuel. Growth happens when you finally face the parts of yourself you've ignored out of fear, shame, or habit, when you decide that the pain of staying the same is now more unbearable than the discomfort of change. Every day, you're either expanding or contracting. You're either stepping into who you're capable of becoming or drifting into the person you swore you'd never be. Growth is neutral itself. You control the direction. And most people don't grow because they're waiting to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. Life never pauses long enough to give you perfect conditions. You grow because you move, not because conditions align. True growth begins with attention. You can't change what you don't observe. So today, you start paying attention to what you think, what you consume, how you speak to yourself, and the stories you repeat. These stories become your identity, and your identity becomes your destiny. The people who transform their lives aren't the ones with fewer problems, they're the ones who stop negotiating with their excuses. They build rituals, not dreams. They build standards, not wishes. They build momentum, not fantasies. Growth is a decision followed by discipline, and the moment you own that truth is the moment your transformation begins. This is where the journey starts, but the real question is, are you willing to keep going? Growth collapses the moment fear becomes the loudest voice in your mind. Fear disguises itself cleverly not as screaming panic, but as hesitation, as overthinking, as distraction disguised as productivity. People don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they surrender to fear before they ever truly begin. Fear whispers the most convincing lies. Asterisk, what if I fail? What will people think? What if I'm not enough? Asterisk, but the real cost isn't failure, it's the years wasted avoiding it. Most people aren't afraid of the work. They're afraid of discovering the truth of their own potential because that truth would demand a higher standard from them every single day. You want to grow daily. Start by facing the reality. Fear is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to move. Fear means you've reached the edge of your comfort zone, the exact place where growth is born. Every breakthrough you've ever admired came from someone who felt fear and still moved forward. Fear thrives in silence, in isolation, in the private corners of your mind where doubt crawls in. But fear loses power when you confront it with action. Action is the antidote. Action dissolves uncertainty. Action builds evidence that you are capable. The people who transform aren't fearless, they're courageous, and courage is simply this, acting despite the discomfort. Every time you take a step, fear loses authority. Every time you avoid a step, fear gains territory. You grow daily by teaching your mind who is in control. You grow by refusing to wait. You grow by stepping into the unknown with the understanding that the unknown is where your future is hiding. Fear isn't your enemy, stagnation is. Fear is the invitation, and if you answer it, life opens in ways you never imagined. When you stop running from fear, you start running toward your future. Every single day, people surrender their future to how they feel in the moment. Feel tired, skip it. Feel overwhelmed, pause your goals. Feel discouraged, give up the plan. But here's the truth, emotions are terrible leaders. They're volatile, temporary, inconsistent. And if you want to grow every day, you cannot let emotions dictate your actions. Growth belongs to the people who act regardless of how they feel. The ones who build discipline that outlasts their mood, identity that outlasts their doubts, and habits that outlast their excuses. Action doesn't wait for emotional permission. It creates emotional momentum. You don't feel confident, and then you act, and confidence emerges. You don't feel inspired, and then you start, and inspiration grows. The body moves first, the mind catches up. Think of every person you admire. Their results didn't come from moments of inspiration. They came from consistency through uninspired days. They acted when it was cold. They acted when it was inconvenient. They acted when life was heavy. That's what built their power. Every action you take is a vote for the person you're becoming. The question is, what identity are you voting for today? The one who avoids hard things, or the one who does what needs to be done? Daily growth requires emotional maturity, the ability to separate what you feel from what you choose. When you master that separation, you become unstoppable. Your progress stops depending on mood and starts depending on commitment. Action is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, your resources, or your circumstances. It only responds to effort. And the beautiful part, effort compounds. If you want a different life, let your actions lead and let your emotions follow. Discipline is the raw, unglamorous force behind every form of growth. It's the backbone of transformation, the foundation of personal power, the invisible contract you sign with yourself every single day. Discipline isn't loud, it doesn't brag, it doesn't post on social media. But it shapes your future more than any burst of motivation ever will. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's punishment, restriction, limitation. But discipline is freedom, freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from being controlled by impulses. When you live without discipline, life becomes a series of emergencies. When you live with discipline, life becomes a series of choices. You grow daily by enforcing standards that elevate you, standards for how you speak to yourself, standards for how you spend your time, standards for how you treat your body, your mind, your goals. Discipline doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for consistency. Small commitments done daily build unstoppable momentum. People who wait for the right time never build discipline, because discipline is born in the moments you don't feel like showing up. Those moments define you. Those moments sculpt character. Those moments build the internal strength that no one can take away from you. Discipline is a promise. I refuse to betray myself. It's the daily decision to put long-term vision over short-term comfort. It's choosing growth over gratification, responsibility over excuses. If growth is the destination, discipline is the vehicle. Without it, you'll dream forever. With it, you become dangerous not to others, but to your own limitations. Accountability is the one thing most people run from, yet it's the exact thing that accelerates their growth. It's easy to set goals, it's easy to make promises, but accountability forces you to confront whether you're living in alignment with your intentions. Growth requires brutal honesty, not the kind you share with others, the kind that happens when you look in the mirror and acknowledge your patterns. Did you follow through? Did you show up? Did you do what you said you would do? Most people avoid this level of honesty because it exposes their inconsistencies, but without accountability, growth becomes accidental instead of intentional. Accountability is freedom because it brings clarity. It shows you what works, what doesn't, and what needs to change. It cuts through illusions and leaves you face with the truth, and truth is where transformation begins. Daily accountability can be simple: a journal, a checklist, a habit tracker, or even a friend who holds you to your standards. But ultimately, the highest form of accountability is internal. When your identity becomes tied to integrity, you stop negotiating with yourself. You live in a way that makes you proud. Every day, you're either building trust with yourself or breaking it, and self-trust is the currency of growth. When you trust yourself, you act boldly. When you don't, you hesitate. Accountability builds that trust brick by brick. Most people live in survival mode, reacting, adjusting, coping, but daily growth requires a different mindset, a shift from survival to evolution. Surviving is about getting through the day. Evolving is about using the day to become more capable, more aware, more powerful. Your mindset is the lens through which you interpret everything. A small setback can be seen as a sign of failure or a call to rise. A challenge can look like a barrier or an opportunity to sharpen your character. Mindset shapes meaning, and meaning shapes your energy. Growth mindset isn't about optimism, it's about ownership. It's about believing that you can improve through effort and adaptability. It's the understanding that intelligence, skill, emotional strength, all of it can be developed. And when you internalize that truth, every day becomes a training ground. Daily growth requires curiosity. Curiosity turns mistakes into lessons, stress into strategy, obstacles into possibilities. Curiosity softens judgment and invites understanding. It breaks fixed patterns and opens new pathways. When you shift from "why is this happening to me" to "what is this trying to teach me," everything changes. The world stops being a threat and becomes a teacher. That shift alone can redefine your entire life. You evolve daily by thinking about your thinking, by catching the old beliefs that try to hold you hostage, by letting go of narratives that no longer serve you. Mindset is not a switch, it's a muscle, and you strengthen it through repetition, reflection, adjustment, and action. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. One must die for the other to live. Discomfort is the birthplace of every breakthrough. It's the arena where weakness is burned away and confidence is forged. Yet most people avoid discomfort like a threat, not realizing it's the exact thing they need. Choosing discomfort doesn't mean seeking pain, it means stepping into challenges that stretch you. It means embracing the unfamiliar, taking risks, doing things you're not yet good at. Discomfort is where your potential hides, waiting for you to earn it. Every day gives you opportunities to choose ease or elevation. Elevation always feels harder at first, but it pays you back in strength, clarity, and capability. Comfort feels good now, but costs you later in regret, in missed opportunities, in untapped potential. The people who grow consistently aren't the ones with fewer obstacles. They're the ones who intentionally put themselves in situations that make them rise. They enter rooms where they're not the smartest. They chase goals that intimidate them. They say yes to challenges that demand a higher version of themselves. Discomfort builds resilience. It breaks emotional fragility. It trains your nervous system to handle stress without collapsing. It teaches you that you can survive hard things and thrive because of them. Daily growth requires asking yourself, where am I choosing comfort over progress? Where am I settling? Where am I avoiding the very thing I need to do? Your answers will reveal the gaps that are holding you back. No matter how strong you are individually, your environment shapes your evolution. People are the ecosystem of your growth or the anchor of your stagnation. And every day, you're influenced through conversations, energy, expectations, habits. If you want to grow daily, you must evaluate your surroundings with honesty and courage. Some relationships elevate you. They challenge you. They stretch your perspective. They hold you accountable. These are the people who don't let you shrink when life gets tough. They see your potential even when you forget it. But other relationships drain you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They create doubt, chaos, distraction. They reinforce your worst habits. They validate your excuses. And sometimes, out of comfort or loyalty, you stay connected to people who limit who you're becoming. Daily growth means being intentional about who you let influence your thoughts, your emotions, your identity. It doesn't require cutting everyone out, it requires raising your standards. When your standards rise, the wrong people naturally fade away, and the right people gravitate toward you. Relationships reflect your mindset. If you surround yourself with people who complain, procrastinate, and stay stuck, you will absorb their patterns. If you surround yourself with people who build, learn, and push forward, you will elevate with them. Connection is powerful. It can propel you or paralyze you. Choose wisely. Your future depends on it. Growth is not only emotional or mental, it has real-world impact on your financial and economic life. Your mindset influences your earning potential, your career trajectory, your opportunities, and the way you navigate challenges. People with a fixed mindset treat money as something outside their control, something that happens to them. People with a growth mindset treat money as a skill, something they can learn, improve, and build through discipline, value creation, and consistency. Daily growth means becoming the kind of person who attracts opportunity through competence and character. It means learning new skills, expanding your awareness, managing your money intentionally, and developing habits that align with abundance instead of scarcity. Opportunities are everywhere, but most people can't see them because their mindset filters them out. Growth sharpens your perception. You start noticing possibilities, connections, and openings that others overlook. You stop waiting for luck and start aligning yourself with action. Money rewards value, and value comes from growth. Every day you sharpen a skill, strengthen your mindset, and raise your standards. You increase your ability to create, serve, and contribute, and the world responds. Growth isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle, a daily commitment to becoming the most capable, resilient, intentional version of yourself. Every day gives you a new chance to rise or a new excuse to stay the same. Who you become is shaped by what you do repeatedly. Growth is a product of rituals, waking up with intention, feeding your mind, challenging your body, elevating your standards, expanding your environment, and taking action aligned with your vision. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you discipline, courage, clarity, or purpose. You build these things through repetition, through effort, through honoring your commitments even when no one is watching. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by the choices you make today. And each day offers you two paths, the path of comfort or the path of growth. One feels easy now but costs you later. The other feels demanding now but transforms everything later. Daily growth is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming better, more aware, more intentional, more aligned, more courageous. It's about owning your story, not escaping it. It's about building a life that reflects your potential, not your fears. You have everything you need: the breath, the will, the capacity, the fire. What you do with it is your legacy.